again. It's Jen. Good morning, good afternoon, whatever it may be, wherever you are. I hope everything is going well for you, and I hope this is a lovely Tuesday. It is May the 12th, and we are going to get right into it today. Got kind of a mess of cards. I might upload it. My cat decided that he wanted to be part of the video, and there may be a blooper reel. So check that out. That might be on there. All right, without further ado, though, I'm going to draw our card for the day. Page of Rods, or Page of Wands, however you want to put it. We've talked a little bit about pages, and yesterday I think I talked about knights. So pages are kind of the lowest level on the upper echelon, shall we say, the royal court of each suit. So there are 4 suits, and there are 4 in the court. Most of the time they are page, knight, queen, and king. In some decks, which maybe we'll get to eventually, there are the prince and princess instead. Page and knight, as we've mentioned before, became kind of one in our standard playing card deck, which is the jack. So the page, again, I look at pages and they usually represent somebody who is a little bit younger, school age on up to probably, maybe 18. 18 is top end of it. So they're young. They're young at heart, or they are physically young. They're usually, in this card set, it's pretty clear that the pages kind of have an androgynous look to them. So they could be either male or female. So when you're reading these cards, it's talking about an individual. It's probably talking about, it could be a boy, it could be a girl. You never know. So really kind of take a look at what the overall reading is. And that'll help you kind of see what this energy is coming out. This one is a lovely young child. I really look at this one and I see child in this. Like, this person doesn't look more than 10 tops. And they're very energetic looking. They're calling out over the mountains, and they've got beautiful blonde hair, bright blue eyes, and they have this golden sun medallion around their neck, which is really cool. Going into this, though, as far as like the physical traits of somebody who might be represented by the rods or the wands is somebody with fairer hair, fairer skin, light eyes, blondes, redheads, things like that. These are people who are probably going to burn in the sun. So much love. I am probably too dark of a complexion for somebody to be represented by the rods. Rods are also typically represented by fire signs. So there's your sun sign right there. They are energetic personalities, fiery personalities. They are your Aries. They are your Sagittarius. They are that sort of energy. They are your Leos. This one really looks to me very much like a Leo sort of kid. He's calling out into the wild. He's got a lot of energy. He kind of looks like he's calling his friends over to play. He's very much a leader. This is not a quiet kid. This is not a calm kid. That said, they're also a very joyful person. They're typically somebody who has had a really probably beautiful childhood, an enjoyable childhood. So look at these kind of people and say, okay, this is somebody who's in a good place. What they kind of represent in terms of a situation or the overall emotion of a situation is your youthful energy, your kind of Peter Pan-esque energy. And I use Peter Pan in this because, again, rods or wands typically represent kind of the idea, the creative, that spark of ingenuity. So this kid is the kid with all the plans, probably not real good at actually making them happen, but can get his friends organized and can get them super excited about stuff, which is very Peter Pan. So this kid is, if anything, the icon Peter Pan. So think about that when you're thinking of the Page of Rods. He is energetic, forever youthful, kind of always getting into trouble, but always dragging everybody else along with him. Has fun ideas, a lot of creativity. These are the kids that may or may not be the chatterboxes in class that are always trying to get their friends to do something fun and something interesting. They are also the kids that think out of the box. So while it may be hard to get this kid to sit still and pay attention to a lesson, sometimes open up and listen to the lessons they're teaching. They have a really interesting mind. This kid is probably in all the advanced classes um, because they like to think. They like to do these brain games and puzzles and that kind of thing. They can be physically energetic as well, in the sense of like they can't sit still. They can't stop talking. They're running around the classroom. They're always getting into something. Their hands are busy too. But 9 times out of 10, they're more the ones that coming up with ideas and asking a lot of questions. These are the kids that push the teachers, and having done teaching for quite some time in the past, I know these kids. They're the ones that make you crazy because they're asking all these questions. Why? Why are we doing it that way? Why don't we do it this way? How long have we been doing it this way? What's the purpose of doing it that way? Can we do it this way? What if we did this? How does that work? They take things apart. They pick your brain. They want to know all the answers to all the things all the time. Why is their favorite question? So when you come across them, it can be trying to not just tell them, shh, calm down, be quiet, stop asking so many questions. These kids, if you let them blossom, they're going to be the movers and the shakers. So as trying as they may be, as worrisome as they may be sometimes, and as annoying as they may be, give them that space. Let them be open. Let them ask you these crazy questions. And and be ready for some really weird ideas they come up with. It came into my head too. Sometimes these are the kids that absolutely love to be in the kitchen for all the most disgusting reasons. Like, what if we mix ketchup and ice cream, or pickles and yogurt, and they'll try it, whatever. So they're not afraid. That's the biggest thing. When it comes to new ideas, these kids are unafraid. They're unabashedly interested to know how, why, what comes next. And they're brilliant, wonderful pieces of energy. So when you look at this too, I want to look a little bit out on some of the other things on the card. Got a little carried away with that. So in the background, you'll notice these very high peaked mountains. They're almost pyramidic in shape. So you'll remember, if you go back, we talked about the King of Rods, and it's interesting because this same landscape is behind the King of Rods, and it almost seems like this kid could be calling up to his king, his father figure up on the hill, who's sitting while he goes and runs off and plays. It's just an interesting introspection into how that background looks, and it could just be that the artist used the same background. But I like looking at it as kind of like, oh, this could be the same landscape from a different angle. This could be his perspective versus his father's perspective. And again, there's a lot more mountain ranges visible in this one. So, take a look at that too. Again, the sky is very yellow, very bright. Again, fire. All about fire. This kid's wearing a robe that is red, bright, bright red. Again, the sun medallion on there, big sun medallion. This almost looks too big for this kid to be wearing. He has coins in his hair that, again, may not be indicative of the coins, like in Pentacles, but it is the sun, because gold, fire, the sun, all of those things correlate with one another and the energy of these characters. What I like to notice too with rods is kind of how they're holding it. And while the king seemed to almost kind of be leaning on his, maybe he's a little more weary of life. This kid is he's got it in his hand, but he's holding the rod up. It's not holding him up. And you can see this a little better in the way it's drawn. It does. It has that, he's holding this thing. He's ready to either hit somebody with it or swing it around or help himself up the mountain rather than just kind of carrying his weight. It's it's a new energy. All of the rods in this suit have flowers kind of just blooming on the top of them. And then there's usually like one or two buds towards the middle of the rod as well, which again is that blooming of ideas, that opening up of the mind. The the way I look at this guy is he's very happy. I cannot imagine a child with more vigor and life in them. On the flip side, we go back to they could be too energetic. Looking at this in some readings, see if maybe this kid is someone with ADHD or something of that nature, where the exuberance and the energy is displaced. It's too much. It's unfocused, unfettered. And go back to Peter Pan. So looking at the Page of Rods, looking at pages in general as the energetic, the very beginning of this court of cards. They are the most youthful. They have the most energy. They're the push. They're that vibrance, the birth of something interesting. So when you're looking at pages, when you're looking at rods, think fire, think energy, think excitement, think youth, and if you see this in a reading that children may not be involved in, maybe this is something about the heart of the person you're reading for. We can all be young at heart. We can all love to be fired up by a passion that has been with us since childhood. We can all love to be fired up just by being silly and being funny and having a good time. And I just realized that the shirt that I happen to be wearing again is kind of kid centric. It's my Trolls shirt from my Trolls book. So there are definitely some energetic characters in that. It's been really interesting. I think I'm going to have to pay attention to what t-shirt I'm wearing in each one of these. That'll be really kind of fascinating to see. So if you want to see more of this, come on back. If you are interested in what already exists, there is a playlist for the tarot readings. It's usually one card a day. I'm just picking at random, so we'll see what happens. And I hope you will take a look at some of my other videos and some of my other things that I create, including my latest book that I worked with Bob Frank on, and it talks a lot about technology and the metaphysical and how those two things connect. It is called Cloud to Cloud. And until next time, enjoy your day, have a wonderful time, and enjoy your Tuesday. Bye!